pay attention.
So come on then,
listen.
how on earth do you grow human meat?
Human meat.
Introduce you to our nutrient vat. Hello, nutrient vat. Great.
That's where they grow human meat.
Well, what its job is, it processes thin slices of tissue.
Where are they getting the tissue?
You see here, and then cells start to grow. So over a 24-hour period, these will slowly fuse together into one great big, what we call a
human
cake.
steak.
So you're telling me that is human flesh? Exactly. But why human meat? Why not animal meat? That's a very good question. We've got centuries
Why
of
human meat?
medicine at our side. We know more about humans than we do about animals. So we've mastered
What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Flavors and sinews that we expect from the flavors of steaks we eat. That's right. A protein made from human cells.
Look at the steak.
Tastier than any of its competitors.
They got this shit in stores.
And I'm off to visit Good Harvest, where a whopping 6 tons of human meat is engineered every day.
6 tons, bro. Who is eating this?
Meat for all. It may well be the meaty miracle we need to ease the squeeze of the cost of.
This is for entertainment purposes only. Let us not forget that they already have human meat restaurants over here in the United States where they doing the same shit. Or how some of these drive-through restaurants had goddamn human meat inside of it too. If you know, you know. I'm just thinking, like, what kind of sick world, sick dystopia do they think we finna live in? Y'all better wake up and smell the coffee, because it's getting real. This one was extremely wild. Let me know what y'all think about this one in the comments. Follow me for more wisdom. Hit that plus button and stay tuned. Ah! 21 countries officially agreed to ditch the US dollar in 2023. See, I remember all the rumors that we was hearing about the dollar collapsing. Yeah, all the rumors. Now they're getting together to strategize a fucking plan to ditch the US dollar. Hooray! A handful of alliances in Asia, Africa, South America are looking to end the dependency on the US. Then look down here. Developing countries fear the US sanctions could hurt their economy and therefore want to strengthen their local currencies and economies, which is great actually if you ask me. The de-dollarization efforts are in full swing in 2023. Nearly 24 countries want to ditch the US dollar. We got inflation going through the roof. And they ain't even ditched the dollar yet, they still using it. It's $4 now for a last loaf of bread. $8 for some carton of eggs. And everybody knows what's coming. If y'all seen that other video where Mexico, they was paying the people to rebuild the wall to keep the Americans out from going into Mexico when the economy collapses. Let me know what y'all think about the 21 countries ditching the dollar in the comments.
They know what they're doing out there, right? The people in office, you know?
Well, I mean, Tulsi can speak to that better than anybody.
I don't know Mayor Biss. I may have met him in passing, but this has been one of the big failures around the aftermath of the wildfire on Maui, is this total vacuum of information from government officials to the people. And in that vacuum, obviously people have all kinds of ideas or theories or this or that, but people were left without any kind of communication from anyone in a position of authority to provide help for days and weeks. And it created massive problems. And so, you know, the immediate line of response needed to come from the county and from the mayor and from their emergency response director. And unfortunately, they did not communicate. They're still not communicating. There's still a huge lack of transparency and therefore an increasing level of distrust in
Americans who are watching you right now who are scared.
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say.
I
I think it's a very nasty question, and I think it's a very bad signal that you're putting out to the American people. The American people are looking for answers, and they're looking for hope. And you're doing sensationalism, and the same with NBC and Comcast. I don't call it Comcast. I call it Concast. Let me just for whom you work. Let me just tell you something. That's really bad reporting.
America is one of the most corrupt countries. I mean, look at this guy, President Biden, biggest criminal I've ever seen. He's our president. You know, he's a terrible, man. And the reason I know that is because I'm a capitalist. How do I know? Not what they say, it's about what they do. I don't know if you know who this guy is. His name is Donald Trump.
Of course.
Very good friend of mine. We are capitalists. He's a very good man. But the communists and the socialists and the crooks hate him. January 2020, this is what Biden did for the world. There was a pipeline running from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. Biden cut that off. What does that mean? I was selling oil in those days for $30 a barrel, went to $130 a barrel. That's dollars. I knew exactly what Biden was doing. He was going to destroy the middle class. So there'd be two classes of people, rich and everybody else poor. So Biden is one of these guys here. We're in serious trouble. We're the biggest debtor nation in the world. The only nation more in debt than us is Japan. So the Japanese save all the little yen and they buy dollars, and guys like me borrow their money and we invest all over the world. Japanese are savers. That's why Japan's in trouble.
John D. Rockefeller, that's what he was all about. He's the richest man in the world, was raised by a psychopath. John D. Rockefeller's dad was named, they called him Devil Bill. His dad, they know all about his dad. This is not a conspiracy theory. The historians will tell you about his father. He created him. He was a rapist, snake oil salesman, running from the law, changed his name.
Devil Bill?
Devil Bill, that was his name. So he had a bunch of sons, and John D. Rockefeller was one. And he was known, he was quoted as saying, I cheat my sons every day. I want them as sharp as can be. He just beat the living fucking trust out of them and just drowned all their trust. So John D. Rockefeller grew up not trusting anybody. Dude, he got busted for monopolizing oil. They finally indicted him. He had to break apart Standard Oil, and it made him a billionaire. That's what made him rich, is when he got busted. When he had to sell everything off, he took over education. Dude, you know how he took over universities? Dude, he wanted to take over the world. He wasn't just trying to sell gas. He was trying to take over the world. Our education system is all based on Rockefeller Foundation shit. Like, what? He strategically wanted to make school so that we got people just smart enough. This isn't conspiracy theory. Just smart enough to work. They didn't want anybody too smart. That's how the school systems were designed.
I tell you right now, a lot of things we're doing, not legal at all.
This guy openly brags online that his haunted house attraction is so scary, it's not even legal. Because of this, everyone's been trying to shut this place down.
Thousands have signed a petition to shut down McCamey Manor.
A lot of people who have been badly injured from this haunted house have even gone to the police.
I want this man to be in prison.
But every time, law enforcement can't do anything. And the fact that this haunted house just continues to operate without any legal consequences seems to confuse a lot of people. But I finally figured out why.
She could not say who exactly beat her up.
Couldn't the detective just look at the raw footage from when it happened and then make a decision on like what's happening, or why not?
The only footage that was ever got out was the edited footage that Russ would put out.
If you look up Russ's YouTube channel, he actually has videos of every single person that shows up to his house. But the problem the police have is he edits the videos to only show the person as they show up.
Today's the day for my McCamey Manor tour.
And as they're leaving.
That thing right there, I'm never going to be the same again.
And no one has ever seen footage of the person when they're actually inside his haunted house.
I can't show all the Twitter. I don't want to go to jail.
Until someone provides the police with video proof, the police can't do anything.
The father that posted a photo of their child in the bathtub where you couldn't see everything, but you could see enough, and it said on the top of it, they have no idea what's going to happen to them tonight. And then underneath there was comments with other people saying what they were going to do to this person's child. And at this point, remember, I have access to their server and they don't know it. After I spoke to my attorney, who told me, hey, you did break federal law, you know, like, if you report this, you're risking going to prison. But I was just thinking to myself, if I bring this to trial, what jury is going to convict me? Guilty or not, I'm willing to take my chances. I spoke to over 10 news stations. I have some of the calls recorded with them. Everybody was interested in this story. story, they felt it was amazing. As soon as it got to legal, not one of them posted the story. Even when I said remove my name from it, remove any of the info I obtained illegally from it, just alert people that this website exists on the internet, nobody posted it. The kicker, which is what got me started in this after all of that, is 6 months later, I'm watching the news, I'm reading the news online, I see Nathaniel Larson arrested at an airport at a layover with a 12-year-old girl that he kidnapped, and they were fully aware of what he was doing. They're fully aware of the 3,000 other people that I caught on the website with their IP addresses, their emails, their chat history, everything about them. A case, on a golden platter for any district attorney.
They're just letting this slide.
And nothing happened. They didn't even bring up his websites in the news articles.
You see this picture behind me? This picture is art displaying reincarnation. What you have done plenty of times, hundreds if not thousands of times. You, that's right, you watching this video have reincarnated. Listen to this information to help wake your mind up to reincarnation. It is the most logical breakdown of life. Tap in.
The most important thing that we have to do if we're going to study reincarnation or if we're going to walk with Jesus Christ is be willing to take everything that you've ever learned from them and throw it in the garbage can where it belongs. It's all built on guilt, it's all built on fear, it's all built on money, and Jesus Christ is not built on any of that stuff. You know what Buddha said about your religion? If you have applied the principles that you've been taught in your religion, look at your life. If you're satisfied with your life, then your religion is true. If it has not fulfilled for you, it's a fraud. Throw it away. That's what Buddha said. Take a look at yourself. Take a look at your life. Take a look at the successes in your life. Take a look at the negativities in your life. If you run around pumping a Bible and your life is hell and your life is miserable, you're following the wrong one. You're following the wrong philosophy. Get rid of it. Because there is no God who would tell you to do anything that will keep you in poverty and keep you screwed up. That's the joke of it all. The stained glass and the pyramids of gold while the people are running around in poverty thinking they're saved. The only ones that are saved is the guys that are pocketing the money. God will not have any human being suffering. And listen to Shakyamuni Buddha. If your religion has not given you a decent life, get rid of it. Because it's not of God. And so what happens? We talk about reincarnation. Matthew 11, verse 14. Jesus Christ said, if you will receive it, will you? If you will receive it, this is Elijah, Elias, which was to come. He that has ears to hear, let him hear. If you will receive it, they won't. They won't receive it. They won't receive that Elijah has reincarnated into the body of John the Baptist. They can't. They can't deal with it. Why? Because their school said that there's no such thing.
Facts.
But will you receive it? Do you have what kind of an ear do you have to have? See, look what he says.
Listen.
He that has an ear, he that has ear. Listen. What kind of ear? Go to page 628, and I'll tell you right now why you can't. If you can't accept reincarnation, I'll tell you right now why you can't. Jesus Christ said, he that has ears, let him hear it. Go to page 628 in the Old Testament.
This part's deep. This part's super deep. Watch.
Look at the book of Jeremiah. 628 in the Old Testament in those little Bibles. The rest of you go to the book of Jeremiah and go to Jeremiah chapter 6. Jesus has just said, if you have ears, you'll understand what he's saying. Here's why so many people don't understand. And many of you, especially some of you watching out there, wherever you may be, you'll look at me, you won't even know what that guy's talking about. Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 10. Here is God. Hey, how are you? Here's what he says. To whom shall I speak and give warning that they may hear? Behold, their ear is, look at it, their ear is uncircumcised. Did you know that you had to have your ear circumcised?
I bet you didn't.
You're a Christian. You're born again. Has your ear ever been circumcised? We do that in here, you know. That's the next rumor they'll spread down Route 9. Don't go down there. They cut your ear off. People come out when you got a cotton up there. I saw one lady come out, she had a handkerchief up there. There's blood, they cut your ear off. Do you know what it means that your ear is circumcised? It means that you have cut it off from listening to them.
Facts.
You no longer listen to the voice on the outside. You listen to the spirit on the inside. That is the circumcised ear. And what does it say? Who will I talk to? They can't hear me because their ear is uncircumcised. Their ear is attached to all of the drivel and the garbage and the traditions that they've been fed all of their lives. They can't understand what I'm talking about. What did Jesus say? If you have an ear, if your ear is uncircumcised, you'll understand what he's talking about. If it's not, you never will, and you'll argue with me.
Facts.
And
I'm gonna have people arguing
ever told
with me.
you, all the Christian churches that you went
Comment
to, that
below.
your ear has to be circumcised?
I
In
wanna
many
hear all
places,
the
they told you
arguments.
about the other little part that had to be circumcised, but they never said anything about your ear, did they?
Never.
No, they never said anything.
Never told us. This man knows what he's talking about.
You've been paying attention to Israel?
I've been paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to.
How could you not be?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's terrifying. It's very terrifying. It's very, very scary stuff.
What is your view on it?
I wish I knew. Well, first of all, I wish I knew how they didn't know that those people are going to do that.
What the leading theory is of how the hell this happened.
Okay, please do.
Right now, the belief is that, and I think we'll know more about this in a few years, that a few things happen all at the same time. There's a perfect storm. First, Hamas has been planning this attack for 2 years, and one of the leaders of Hamas actually said that they've been strategically lulling Israel to sleep by making it seem like they're no longer interested in a conflict the past 2 years. And Israel, even just a week before the attack, allowed more Gazans to come over the border and work in Israel as basically a reward for good behavior. Right? They thought Hamas has gone into this mode where they're more concerned about the economics of the Gaza Strip than about attacking Israel. So Israel was asleep at the wheel. Israel also had transferred a lot of IDF that would normally be at the Gaza border to the West Bank. It was also the Sabbath. It was also a major holiday. It's also they've had the biggest protests in a generation, almost the same way America was during 2020. Israel has been for the past several months over their judicial reform. So you put it all together.
Can you go into that a little bit, please?
Yeah, so basically the judicial reform in Israel is not like the United States. They don't have a constitution. They don't have this kind of really beautiful genius system of checks and balances that we have where, you know, the president can veto Congress and the Supreme Court has a check on everyone, right? And everyone keeps each other in check. Israel just has a single parliament they call the Knesset, a prime minister that has a lot of control over that parliament because he leads the majority coalition. So basically, in Israel, the president and their Congress have a lot more power than in America, historically. The Supreme Court doesn't have the power to say no to them. But over the past 30 years, the Supreme Court has been basically grabbing more power for itself under these things called basic laws, where they can now say to the Knesset, no, you cannot implement that policy in the West Bank. It violates human rights. They have more powers to check the majority party. And that's come to a head now because the Supreme Court is perceived as left-wing and sympathetic to the Palestinians.
So I just got word. You dirty dogs, you. Congress is gone to Colorado Springs and hiding under the bunkers, underground in the bunkers. Bring y'all asses out. Don't go hiding. Don't try to hide no goddamn where y'all started this shit. Y'all bring y'all asses out here with the American people. Joe Biden, if you down there, you bring your ass out too. The captain goes down with the ship. How dare you cowards go hiding while we out here in the open? While the American people is out here can get bombed and everything else, and y'all start the shit and y'all going to hide out? Congress, bring your ass out. So I just got word.
There was a time in your life when you were not a federal taxpayer filing income tax returns. Then there was a time when you were. When and how did that change happen? Some people think it was when you got your Social Security number or when you got your birth certificate. That is not when you became a federal taxpayer. You became a federal taxpayer when you filed your first IRS 1040 form. You volunteered to become a federal taxpayer by signing that 1040 form and sending it to the IRS. In their legal terminology, you elected to become a federal taxpayer with that form. And chances are you were tricked into thinking you had to sign the form and send it to the IRS. Employers will often tell employees that they're required to do so. That is not true. The employer may request you sign forms like the W-2 or W-4, but the law does not require you to sign any form or for anyone to force you to sign any form. The employer is only requesting that you sign the tax forms because the IRS threatens them to do so, but the employer is not legally required to force their employers to sign any form on behalf of the IRS. Requiring you to apply your signature is a violation of your rights. To have a federal income tax, they must trick the citizen into signing things. If the government is authorized to do something, they do not need your signature to do it. Usually when you sign something for the government, you are giving up some of your rights. On that first 1040 form you signed, you identified yourself as a federal taxpayer, and you signed the form under penalty of perjury, thereby declaring the form to be true and correct under your personal authority. Of course, it would be in most people's interest to not sign and send any 1040 form in the first place, because that is the moment you become a federal taxpayer, when you declared yourself to be one. That's the bad news. The good news is you did not magically become a federal taxpayer because the government said so. You voluntarily elected to be a federal taxpayer in a contract, and that means you can revoke that contract at any time as long as you pay any tax that you have agreed to pay up to the date of your revocation. That means after you pay any federal income tax you have self-assessed for any given year, and before you file the next year's 1040 form, you may revoke your election to be a federal taxpayer. You may serve notice of your revocation of election to the IRS and the U.S. Treasury. Your revocation of election, if done properly, cancels your status as a federal taxpayer by revoking your original IRS 1040 form contract agreement. The forcible seizure of your earnings would violate the 13th Amendment to our Constitution, our nation's supreme law. If you do not live in a federal jurisdiction such as Washington, D.C., if you are not a federal employee or contractor, if you did not voluntarily elect to be a federal taxpayer, then it is highly unlikely that you owe any income tax, and there is no one who can say that you do. Income tax must be voluntary. Otherwise, it is slave trade, unpaid servitude, and it is an imprisonable offense. That is why there is a clear record of your 1040 form signed by you under penalty of perjury. Without your permission, the federal government cannot seize your earnings from your labor. You cannot be forced to sign anything. No one forced you to sign your first 1040 form. That was your decision, and it can be your decision to revoke that contract if you wish. Thousands of people have done that. They are no longer federal taxpayers, and they are violating no law. If you'd like to know more about revocation of election, contact us at feedback@freedomtaker.com. And if you know of anyone who is struggling with IRS issues, please share this video. This message is public notice and free speech protected by our nation's Constitution. Anyone who believes this message to be misinformation may, within 60 days of the posting of this video, provide legal reference showing any portion of this message to be inaccurate, and if we can verify that legal reference as applicable and valid, we will voluntarily remove this message. This message is for educational purposes and does not represent legal advice or service. FreedomTaker.com is solely responsible for the content of this video. The platforms which carry our messages are not the content creators of our posts and are not responsible for the contents of this message in any way, and therefore have no right to label, suppress, or remove our content. Anyone removing this message without our consent or without legal grounds will be subject to major monetary penalties, which will apply fully and separately to all responsible parties and their organizations. Any defamatory labeling or removal of this message by the host platform or any other outside party or agency without our consent constitutes agreement to those terms. Any person representing this message as unreliable or removing this message or ordering its removal without prior notice to us and without authorization from us will thereby be agreeing to pay major additional monetary penalties for that nuisance, violation, and damage. Our nation's Constitution prohibits censorship of and interference with this message.
Pay close attention. He's in Antarctica, right next to the ice wall. It's said that the ice wall is higher than the Eiffel Tower, and it goes all the way down to the bottom of the sea. The fact that he's so close to the ice wall indicates that he's probably working in Antarctica. Doing what? I don't have a clue, but maybe you do. Comment below if you know what's going on and what he's talking about and what he's doing in Antarctica. Let me show you the background. Ice wall at south, guarded heavily, similar to Area 51. I wonder if this dude is in the military or has like a contracting job. Run that video.
You're gonna want to see this. Stretching off into the horizon, we have one of the largest tabular icebergs currently on our planet. It just keeps going. Something this big is kind of hard to comprehend even when it's right in front of you, but this speaks to how much fresh, frozen water is down in the Southern Ocean. For anyone wanting some perspective, take a look at the birds that are flying next to this thing. It's probably about 200 feet high, and that's just about 15% of what's sticking out of the water. The rest is down below, like an ice wall, drifting through the ocean, currently heading east toward the South Orkney Islands. Kind of wouldn't believe it if...
You guys know how the elites always tell you everything before they do it?
Well, what do you know? I guess I'll be the one who dies first.
And as we all know, Matthew Perry died at age 54, which equals 9. 9 meaning completion. Completion of what? Now this next video I'm about to play has some very encrypted message. Please pay attention and let me know what y'all think.
Something is not adding up with Matthew Perry's death. As you all know, Matthew Perry was found drowned in his jacuzzi at his home in Los Angeles. Days leading up to his death, he was posting cryptic messages on his Instagram in reference to Batman. Starting on October 17th, Matthew Perry posted this video of a cinema room. Every wall was covered with Batman. And he points up to the corner of the room, and there's a bat signal up there. The next post, he posts a bat out in the water where it says, "Sleep well, everybody. I've got the city tonight. Matman." So he's referring to himself as Matman, playing on the pun of Batman. He has something that says, "Batman plays pickleball." It was announced that he played a 2-hour pickleball match right before he died. Now, there's one post that's very bizarre where it's somebody, it's not Matthew Perry's hand. I don't believe it's Matthew Perry's hand, but it's somebody's hand dropping 3 cranberries on a table. And Matthew Perry says, "This is what I've had to eat today. I'm Matman." People are speculating that this had something to do with the Cranberries lead singer, Dolores O'Riordan, as she was found dead from drowning as well. And then he goes on to post a picture of a jack-o'-lantern with the Batman signal carved into it saying, "Do you know what I mean?" And after this, he posts a video of the moon. And all it says is, "Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? I'm Matt Man. And in his 83rd and final post, it shows Matthew Perry in the jacuzzi where he drowned. He says, "Oh, so warm water swirling around makes you feel good? I'm Matt Man." In this photo, you can clearly see that he's highlighting the moon, which is behind him as well. And that is another thing, is Matthew Perry died on a full moon with a partial eclipse. He died on the hunter's moon. Some are saying that this was a full moon sacrifice. So what does this mean? Is he trying to tell us something? Batman, Mattman? What's very interesting is in the Batman TV series, Season 1, Episode 33, Fine Finney Friends, it is revealed that Bruce Wayne's great-grandfather was the founder of the secret society Skull and Bones at Yale.
That is Bruce Wayne's grandfather, Mrs. Cooper?
His great-grandfather.
I understand he was tapped for Skull and Bones.
Tapped for it? Sir, he founded Skull and Bones.
Not to mention that it was episode 33, which is heavily involved with Freemasonry. Now, obviously, this is very tragic. I don't want to make light of this, but there's some things that just don't add up surrounding Matthew Perry's death. Matthew Perry has had a history of drug abuse. He's had medical issues. So it's leading a lot of people to think that he was relapsing. But some are speculating that he was telling everybody a message, or he was trying to tell everybody a message because of all of these Batman/Mattman scenarios. Something is not...
Like, share, and follow for more for videos like this. And also keep up with me on my other platform. Let's get this shift.
Lucifer wears many faces.
Said that you won't fly commercial. You said that it's like getting into a tube with a bunch of demons. Why do you think that?
No, listen to me this thing. Not the people. The main reason is because of the need of Inside Edition. You got to get this now. Hey, you listen to me? My wife thinks Inside Edition is, oh yeah.
Don't forget to like and follow and stay weird.
Oh man, thank goodness it's Friday. Why are you saying thank goodness? We're working this weekend. No, we're not. You said that we had the weekend off. Well, some things have came up, so we're actually going to have to come in tomorrow. Sorry. Well, that's your problem, bitch. That's not my problem. I'm off this weekend. No, you're going to come in. There's no discussion. Bro, you got to give us some kind of warning, some kind of heads up. You didn't even give us a day's notice. I am not coming in this weekend. Sorry. You're not going to tell me what you're not going to do, okay? You are the worker. I am the supervisor. You do what I tell you to do. I don't give a fuck what you think, Mike, okay? So you're going to drop that little petty bitch attitude, and you're going to come the fuck in this weekend, or I swear to God, I'll fucking fire you. Ball's in your court. So the ball's in my court? All right, well, I got the ball, man, and I'm dribbling it. Oh, man, you gonna come get the ball, Steve? Are we playing around? Yeah, you gonna come get the ball? Yeah, I'll come get the ball. All right, y'all do it. Come get the ball. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Yeah, touchdown, bitch. That's not even